Good afternoon. Here is the midday news on OGBC. My name is Emmanuel Adebanjo. First, the major items. President Tinubu restates commitment in fighting corruption. Ogun government is strategizing to further attract private investors. The European Council has sanctioned 6 companies for financing the crisis in Sudan. President Bola Tinubu on Monday assured that his administration would not relent in addressing corruption and other vices. This is just as he maintained that it is a separate duty to ensure that the country is set right for the prosperity of all Nigerians. President Tinubu stated this while playing host to a delegation of the Christian Association of Nigeria CAN, led by its president Archbishop Daniel Oko. He emphasized the role of faith leaders in fostering unity and peace in the country. The president called on Christian leaders to support the administration's ongoing fight against corruption by encouraging Nigerians to act in another development. President Bola Tinubu has erected an expansion of the force of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund NELS Fund to include students interested in skill development programs. He gave the directive to the management of the fund after receiving briefing on the build-up to the launch of the program later in the month from the Executive Secretary of the NEL Fund, Dr. Aketude Soya, at the State House, Abuja. The president stressed that it is important for the scheme to accommodate those who may not want to pursue university education, noting that skill in acquisition is as important as obtaining undergraduate and graduate academic positions. With a view to address poverty, which is one of the drivers of insecurity, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory (FCT), Mr. Nyesom Wike, who stated this in Abuja on Monday, explained that poverty and the economy are two sides of a coin, just as poverty and criminality are connected. He said that the federal government, through its subsidy removal and other economic policies, is working hard to improve the country's economic, which had been in a terrible state for a very long time. The minister urged Nigerians to wait patiently, adding that the measures would, in the long run, improve the economy as a practical solution to poverty reduction. The Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has reiterated the federal government's commitment to marriage registries to deliver on its mandate towards the citizens. This was demonstrated in its approval of 6 additional marriage registries in new locations to be established in the country to ease the flow of processing all that is possible to ensure efficient service delivery to all citizens willing to be legally married and obtain a recognized federal marriage certificate from their various states without having to travel far to get it done. He noted that the approved 6 additional registries are to be situated in Ondo, Oyo, Delta, Taraba, Akwa Ibom, and Benue states. The Ogun State government said it is creating a conducive environment that will attract private sector to invest in the state and do business with ease through the creation of economic development clusters and reduction of the cost of doing business. The Chief Economic Advisor and Commissioner for Finance, Mr. Dapo Okubadejo, stated this in a media parley on the breakdown of the approved 2020 budget held in Okemos on Monday. According to the commissioner, the administration is not only strategizing to achieve greater heights in economy, but also ensuring the strategies are executed to the letter. Sector growth, food security, poverty eradication, and increased investment. Mr. Okubadejo added that the government is determined to make the state a leading economy in the federation by maximizing the potentials about in its human and capital resources. You are listening to the midday news on OGBC 90.5 FM. The European Council (EC) has imposed sanctions on 6 companies for their alleged involvement in financing and arming the warring Sudanese army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF). The EC noted that the 6 entities were responsible for supporting activities undermining the stability and political transition of Sudan. Among the companies sanctioned were 3 controlled by the Sudanese armed forces, including the Defense Industry Systems conglomerate, which Brazil said had estimated revenue of $2 billion in 2020. The other 3 companies sanctions were involved in procuring military equipment for the RSF. The Sudanese army and the RSF have been fighting since mid-April in a war that has killed more than 12,000 people and which the United Nations said has displaced 7.5 million. The United Kingdom's Upper House of Parliament has voted to delay Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's controversial plan to deport asylum seekers in Rwanda. The vote by the unelected House of Lords on Monday came despite Mr. Sunak urging its members to back his plan, which was which he was characterized as the will of the people. The upper house voted 214 of to 171 to delay the ratification of a related treaty London signed with Kigali until the government can demonstrate that Rwanda is a safe country for asylum seekers to be sent to. The chamber does not have the power to block the so-called SWIFT of Rwanda Asylum and Immigration Bill indefinitely, but could delay the legislation for up to a year. The Israeli army says 21 of its soldiers have been killed in Gaza, the deadliest day for Israeli forces since the start of the ground operation. A spokesman for the Israel Defense Forces, Rear Admiral Daniel Agari, said it was assumed that a rocket-propelled grenade hit a tank near two buildings they were in. He explained that the buildings exploded probably as a result of mines that Israeli forces had placed there to demolish them. The IDF, however, said it is still investigating the details of the incident. Reports from Monrovia has it that all eyes are on the hospital where the new Liberian president was rushed to on Monday after he became very uncomfortable during his inauguration. The 79-year-old Mr. Joseph Boakai took ill and could not complete the oath taken following his victory in the last year November presidential poll. It is expected that the hospital and the handlers of the new president are not only keeping close eye on him, they are in a position to allay the fears of many Liberians who are expectedly eager to have updates on the rate of recovery of the Mr. Bukai. President Bukai was the second in command to President Helen Salif and is to be 84 years of age at the end of his term in office. On sports, Novak Djokovic continued his bid for a record extending 11th Australian Open title with a confident win over American 12th seed Taylor Fritz to reach the semi-finals. The 36-year-old Serb also going for a standalone record 25th major won 7-6, 7-3, 4-6, 6-2, 6-3 in a hot Melbourne. Djokovic has not lost here since 2018, winning his past 33 single matches. They will play either Italian seed Jannik Sinner of Russia, fifth seed Andrei Rublev for a place in the final. Corruption is inimical to the development of the nation. Desist from corrupt practices. To end the midday news, another look at the major items. Playing host to the delegation of the Christian Association of Nigeria CAN in Abuja on Monday, President Bola Tinubu said his administration is committed to addressing corruption and other vices in the country. The chief economic advisor to the Ogun State Governor, Mr. Dapo Okubadejo, at a media parley on the breakdown of the approved 2023 budget, also on Monday said the government is working to create a conducive environment to attract private investors to the state. We also heard that the European Council has imposed sanctions on six companies who are involved in financing and harming the Rwandan Sudanese army and the paramilitary rapid support forces. The midday news was edited by Elizabeth Kuforiji and broadcast from OGBC, Abeokuta.